Dog fans, welcome to Hunker Down, Impact Media's weekly dive through the hedges into the world of the UGA Bulldogs football squad. I'm your host, Jeremy York. That is, I never get the pointing right, it never works. That guy over there is my wonderful co-host, Jake Skinner. How are you, Jake?
Doing good. Although if sources are correct, then I will be not be feeling good when the season's over.
Depends on where your sources are from.
That is very fair. But yeah, other than that, doing good. Just tired and tired.
I hear you there. As I was saying beforehand, today is the most well I have felt in 2 weeks. It was a sinus thing that mostly was in the back of my throat. Make all the jokes you can about that, but as somebody who makes his living and his hobbies all revolve around running his mouth, it's pretty frustrating losing your voice back and forth.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's not a fun one, especially with what you do for a living.
Nope, it would it'd be like if a pilot got a sty in his eye or something. He needs his vision.
Exactly. Absolutely does.
Weird example. Not sure where that came from. Anyway, if we were doing any better, we still got the pointing wrong. We'd probably be this guy here.
Yep.
And you
Fair
guys can
enough.
say all the stuff you want to. I'm supporting the Georgia this week anyway. I'm supporting wearing it. I'm not doing this really to troll people. He is just him and his dad are two of my favorite coaches. I've been a big fan of both of them. They are very good at what
Oh
they
yeah.
do. You can
Monte led
you
my
can
Buccaneers to a title in 2002, man.
absolutely. It's one of those, and we're going to talk about it more on this show. But what Lane and Monte Kiffin have done is just all. I mean, just awesome. Just the kinds of things they've done. You could say all you want. It's just like people that say that Saban's a bad coach, and then he holds up his hand and he has more rings than like Queen Victoria. So you got to just respect game there, and most of the time he ends up on the side of things that I don't necessarily cheer for, but he resurrected his career. He's able to go here. I'll be honest. I think Ole Miss is not necessarily his last destination, but I think he's going to be here for a while.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree at all. Let's see. Sorry,
I don't think
texting
he's going
dad.
to take an Alabama job, but could he take? Man, I wouldn't leave Ole Miss for this, but would he take USC? Maybe.
No, he wouldn't go back to USC. He's been there once.
Oh,
They
that's right.
they are not
He's
fond
been
of
there.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
That type of job
if
though.
he knows where he's at, I think stuff ramps up. I think if he leaves Ole Miss, he's leaving for the swamp. I think he goes to Florida or he takes over FSU or something like
Oh,
that. If I'm
I thought you meant
FSU,
Tulane. When you said swamp, I thought you meant Tulane.
yeah. If I'm Lane and if I'm Florida State, I've got the money to
Ooh,
go build a roster. I've got the money
ooh,
to build a roster. I've got the money to do whatever I need to. I get rid of a coach who has instilled a culture that is not working. It's been clear for years that that culture is not good.
yeah.
So at that point, if you're Florida or Florida State, you both have ability. You both live in a talent-rich state. You've got to go after Lane Kiffin. At least make him come in the door, talk to him, see if
Yeah.
he's willing to leave Mississippi. Give him a nice cushy retirement plan, and say, "Hey, you're here as long as you want. We support you. We'll take the lumps and the bumps that come with rebuilding this program from where it is. We'll give you, guarantee him 2 to 3, give him 3 years at any coach 3 years to get a couple of recruiting classes under his belt. He'd be great down there. Do I want to see that happen? I like him where he's at as a Georgia fan.
Well,
FSU
and
is whatever, but
I mean, would you really leave the SEC and at least a middle to potential top tier team, middle team right now, but they could make a run. Would you leave the SEC for the ACC?
only if you think that's the easiest way to get to a title, to survive not beating up your opponent every week. If you can go there. Now, to be fair, he might love it in Ole Miss. He might like the small town Oxford lifestyle. And if he does, good for him. I hope it works out because I mean, it's a
Oh, I've
party
got
out
the
there.
place for him then. Forget the
Iowa,
ACC. No, forget college. Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, or NOLA. if he wants to go back
He
to being
he,
pro.
he already knows. He already knows the area from the Florida International stuff. Him at Jacksonville could actually work.
That very well could. Very well could.
But we'll circle back to Lane. Lane will be very important to this show in the not so distant future. We have to hit on that little exhibition that happened over the weekend because it was only an exhibition after a good while. Um, Florida, Georgia, I thought was everything that that game should be. It stayed pretty close for a minute, and then it's like in the second half, Georgia remembered that they are the better team, and I saw some very non-Bobo like players that were called on plays on offense. I don't think reverses or double reverses are in the Mike Bobo plan, so I don't know if somebody kicked him and he was in the floor and didn't make that call or what. But some of the play call in the third and fourth, the ones that actually worked, it showed creativity, imaginary, just
Yeah.
imagination and everything, and suddenly they started doubling their points.
Yeah. I mean, it's what you gotta do. You've got an off. You got, like I said, we're gonna just be a broken record this year.
Yeah,
You know, it's not working. The Bobo Beck train is not here. It is not gonna happen. There's just nothing we can do about it.
right.
So no matter which way you lean on this one, it's just not gonna work long term. Thank God the ride's almost over for this season. Like I told my dad earlier. As a Georgia fan, I'm just struggling to get through. Like, and I know that sounds horrible to say, but the fact is, yes, we've gotten spoiled by winning. Okay, I agree.
Yeah,
We got spoiled by two titles, but the thing is, Georgia has always, like under Rick, even was the same way. Georgia fans are tired of an offense that constantly sputters and relying on a defense to win titles.
yeah,
Yes, we've had to do that. Yes, it's wonderful, and you got a great defense, and yes, we want to keep that going with defense. But when are we going to have that Lane Kiffin offense to work with the Kirby Smart defense, like Alabama had for those years, where all of a sudden you're like, they could beat anybody. It had people thinking that Alabama could play the Cleveland Browns and win back in those days, and they probably could have, depending on what year you were playing them.
yeah,
But as a Georgia fan, it's just frustrating to see what's happening. It's, that game was just tough. Like I watched most of the second half. I didn't get to watch the first half. I was out with my girl doing some stuff this week and getting ready since I really won't get to see her till Thanksgiving or Christmas. So we were getting everything ready for Christmas. But like, yeah, just I watched it and I'm sitting there going, yeah. So same thing as always: run, run, screen, punt. Oh look, penalty. We get a first down. Oh, we're punting again. Mike Bobo is cooked. He should not be the coordinator. And this leads me to my sources that in Athens saying that Bobo is not getting fired. He's staying for at least another year or two. The reason why
yeah.
is because Beck lost his top two receivers that he had the most practice with in the offseason.
Yep.
He lost both of them because they were stupid. His offensive line, because of the rotation that they're running, and I don't know why they do it, because of that, he doesn't trust the offensive line to hold up for him. He doesn't trust
Right.
his receivers, and he doesn't trust his offensive coordinator to call the plays and to get them in the best position to win. Because Bobo needs to understand this is a system quarterback. He's not a hero. Carson needs to quit trying to play hero ball. He doesn't trust anybody in front of him. How can you
Right.
win when you don't trust your teammates? And not to mention, we don't have a running game because everyone's playing in the zone and just ready to stop the run because they know we're just going to show them what we're going to do, and then that's the end of it. So Georgia's got to figure that stuff out. I don't think there's time enough to fix it this year. And
No.
if Bobo's in next year, Rashada transfers, Gunner's the starter. Georgia runs more of a spread offense. But Gunner's not a check into the right play. Oh, this guy's going to
No.
be open. He's going to have him, the guy in the headset, going, "Hey, throw it here." Nothing against Gunner,
Yeah.
but Gunner has not developed. We can't develop a quarterback. So
Correct.
at worst case, if you keep Bobo, if that happens and you stick with Gunner and you just recruit who you can recruit and go find a different coordinator after next year, please let it be this year. At least go hire a quarterback coach, quarterback guru, someone who works with quarterbacks and can get in their head and keep them calm. Because Bobo ain't that. Be the
Lincoln
intermediary. Lincoln Riley, if he gets fired, if Lincoln Riley, it sucks when I say it,
when
if
he gets
Lincoln
fired.
Riley, when he gets fired, if he literally called Kirby and said, Kirby, I want to go back to calling plays. You got a spot for me? I think Kirby would look at go, Mike, you got to go or you're going back to an analyst. One of the two. But you're not, this is that, or it's going to be one of those things where this is your last year. We're going to go run with this guy. you're going to work together to call plays, and at some point, Riley just takes over all play calling duties.
I got a place Mike Bobo can go.
Hell,
Like this is a good place,
it's a little
or
cold.
here. Um, not opposed to this, or even this.
Fair enough.
Any of those places, I think, would be good.
Fair enough. Any of those would be great for the moment. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. Georgia fans, just roll with it. We'll see what happens.
yeah, and it's one of those first world problems because you are still one of the top, I would say three, possibly two, but top four teams in the country. You are projected to win the SEC by every account that I've seen. There may be one random person, and I'm sure they're like an Auburn alumni or something if they pick them. But everybody's pretty much saying Georgia is more than likely going to win the SEC. Pretty good shot. So they're probably going to be that probably second or third seed, maybe first, depending on how things go. And it's not completely broken, but it's not great. So you just roll with it, and you say we might steal this one this year, and next year we're
Hmm.
coming back.
Yeah, that very much may be what it is for Georgia. You just got to roll with the punch, roll with what we're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with, and hope that Kirby can figure out what's going on. Because I mean, I don't know at this point. Like it hurts as a Georgia fan. Like you trust your coach to make the right call all the time. You got to trust him.
Yeah,
Georgia fans, we can watch it all day long, but it just like I texted my dad like I said earlier, just our history of Georgia fans. We're just tired. We've spent, yes, we finally got through the 40, 42 years it took to win another title or whatever,
yeah,
41 years, whatever it took. Yeah, it took us too long to win another title. Agreed. But what also it just hurts when you're like, we're so good and our time has been so brief,
yeah,
and I think if it was any other coordinator that Georgia was dealing with, any other coordinator, we wouldn't be stressing as half as bad
right.
because we'd be like, whatever. But as a Georgia fan, you're tired of the name Mike Bobo. He is synonymous with mediocre or mid. That is who he is.
Yeah,
You know, like you need an alpha mentality to come running in there and save the day on that offense, and I just don't know that we have it yet. And hopefully someone steps up. Hopefully we find the right guy. We'll see what happens.
yeah. Last thing I'm gonna really say on last week's game. Um,
I know I got sidetracked on that one
no, no,
because,
no, no.
like I said, Georgia played a good.
I just
I'll
want to
go back
bump
to
it
this
up
too.
because I do want to put some
Georgia
time
played a good game
on
in the
him.
second half. Georgia
They
played a
did.
good second half. Chaz Chambliss helped end the game again. Not as it was impactful, but not like you would think. But nonetheless, Georgia at least finished that game strong on defense. The
They did.
offense did at least have a good third quarter and did what they had to do on two different drives to ice the game away, to get the lead and ice the game away. And it should have never have gotten to that point. Uh, Beck's interceptions, real quickly, not completely his fault again, but also he's holding on the ball too long because he doesn't trust his receivers, he doesn't trust his line.
Yeah.
It's all of that, and his
I mean,
receivers
you
are
have
still running the wrong routes.
okay. One was on him, and one I remember was on him. The other two, I'll give him the pass on those.
That one where he threw the ball to Humphreys and Humphreys didn't come forward to go fight for it, that's not on him. He's
No,
expecting the defender to drop. But then again, everyone's playing Georgian zone. There's no man coverage, which
nope.
hurts you because your receivers don't know where to go. They're all young. This is the worst group of pass catchers we've had
Yeah,
collectively since 2019, and we all know how that Jake Fromm last year was. And I'll say this, Jake Fromm is not who you think he was as a quarterback. That guy, someone described him as a mental midget this past week. I like Jake
little
Fromm.
person. We got to keep it correct.
I'm just saying that
That was
that's
a
how they
quote.
viewed.
The quote,
That was a
folks.
quote. That's how he is viewed had his
Yeah.
time because he was very coddled and
Yes.
Georgia. We'd already have three more losses if he was the quarterback here this year. Let me just go ahead and put it that way. So Beck is not the whole problem. He is a third of the problem.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. But anyway, I'm
Yeah.
good to go on to the next one.
Yeah. It's a package. I was just saying that to be this game to be as close as it was for as long as it was. Florida total passing 113 yards, total rushing 115 yards. Dog fans, you got a good defense. It's just your offense was sputtering. That's what kept it so close.
Hmm.
That was majority of it, and they couldn't move the ball because when they moved the ball, this thing got so far apart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely like the defense is playing their hearts out. Like they're going to pull us. Like if we could still win a title with this defense, they pulled us to a title.
Probably so.
I think, and I'll go ahead and move it into the next our next game.
Yeah.
Georgia's going to have to rely on the defense the rest of the year. We are going to have to. I mean, I'd love to see a 100-yard rushing game and like us bust out for 150 to 200 yards, at least 200 yards rushing in one game this year, and not against like a small opponent.
Right.
But you'd like to see a 300-yard pass, a video game style numbers from us because we have the talent. But I think Georgia's defense pulls them into a win ultimately. We score 20 points maybe because of a sputtering and Carson throws another two
Mm.
picks. I say we win like 20 to 17.
Ooh, man. I was gonna say I got Ole Miss scoring somewhere in the 24 range. So let's hope that it's a mixture of what we're saying because I do think Georgia's gonna win. I think they're gonna have to pull out a 27-24 or a 31-24. They're gonna have to pull out something in the end. They're gonna have to hold on because
Yep.
that guy he knows to bring the freight train, and he's going to bring the train because he knows it's not just knocking off a big team, it's not just knocking off Georgia, it's knocking off the perennial favorite, and it's knocking off the team that has knocked him off his whole career.
Yeah. The reason I say that is against stiff competition this year, the most points that Lane has had his team score is 20 is 29 is 20 27 points. That's South Carolina. They got
Mm,
beat by Kentucky 40 to 20 to 17. They got beat by LSU 29-26. They beat
okay.
Oklahoma 26-14 and Arkansas they beat 63-31 because Arkansas is not that good, let's be honest. They're having a better year than they should be, but
Yeah.
they're not that team that can handle it. That being said, they're when it comes to the when you put them against talent, they're not dropping the points like you think they should. So Georgia, if they can hold them to under 30 and somehow the offense can sputter their way to a 31-point game, they anything over 30, I think Georgia wins. I just don't know that Georgia's going to score it based on what I'm seeing. Like it might be another Florida game. It's going to be one of
Yeah.
those hard to watch and I'm going to sit over here and go, I'll check in on as I get time because I'm like I have Saturday, we'll see what time's going on. 3:30 on ABC. We'll see if I'm free. That's literally my brain cells right now going, I just don't know if I have the energy.
I will not be watching probably the first half live. I will probably catch the second half, but I will go back and watch the first half.
Hmm.
Just I'll be honest, I'll be at church. I'll be at church more than likely Saturday afternoon. So me and the Lord will be discussing some other things, and then later on, me and Lane can discuss some others. But
Fair enough.
I told you beforehand, I still think Jackson Dart is Heisman worthy. Thanks to those people in Colorado, he's probably not going to be anywhere near this, but he complete what is he 198 of 276, 3,210 yards, 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. A kid's going to play on the next level. Lane's going to do his best to get him ready to play on the next level. In fact, now he's slightly more talented than the guy I'm going to mention, but what Jim Harbaugh did for J.J. McCarthy is what is happening with Jackson Dart and Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is
Yeah.
going to get him drafted a round or two higher than he might normally be, but when he gets to the next level, he's going to be ready.
Oh no, it's the same way with Carson Beck, like on that one.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll say that like for Jackson, he's looking good. I think he's like a day two pick. I think he's that third, fourth rounder.
yeah.
Maybe that, but like I haven't watched enough of his tape to see how he layers
Right.
throws. He's talented, but I don't know that he's a front end starter for a team just yet. He's
Not
got
yet.
time to develop. I mean, he could start for the Panthers right now and be doing better than they've been getting. But
We could start for the
nonetheless,
Panthers and do better.
not with my shoulder, not with my shoulder.
Throw
But
the other hand.
that'd be the ducks everywhere. But Jackson, he's a good quarterback. He's dangerous at college. He's dangerous for college. We'll see what he can do
Yeah,
with the pros. But good on his career for getting with Lane out of transferring out of USC and getting out of that show because he proved the right call by doing that.
absolutely. Now I was just looking this ESPN graphic that I have, the matchup predictor. I don't know if that's just the way people are voting or whatever.
That's what it's been for 2 weeks.
53.9% Ole Miss.
Yep, it's been that way for 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's because
I
of
think it's
Georgia's
just
offense.
I think it's just non-Georgia fans want Georgia to lose so bad they're just going to vote for the other side regardless. But this is going to be a close game. I'll give it that. It's probably 51-49, no joke. It could honestly pivot either
Yeah.
direction, but I, 54-46. I don't think so. But you get the 3:30 time slot on ABC. It's going to be over there at Vaught Hemingway,
Hemingway.
which is a pretty place. But what is it? Yet, yet Georgia is a 2.5 point favorite, which means if they lined up and played in our backyard, they would be a 5.5 point favorite. That's
Yeah.
probably pretty accurate. That's pretty close. And the over under 54. Ooh, just thinking where I had them. Yeah, I take the under, and I take the slight over with the 2.5. I think they win by 3 to 5.
Yeah. I got you. I still think that Georgia can win this game, but it's going to be tighter than we want. It's going to be every game going forward. It's going to be like the Florida game.
Yep,
We're going to come out slow on offense. If you're going to beat Georgia, you've got to do what Bama did, and you've got to drop 28 to 30 points in the first half on us before we can make an
sure.
adjustment. Because I really don't know that Georgia can make. I don't know what kind of changes Georgia can make that late. I
Well, looking at
don't
the
know.
schedule, like you said, Ole Miss, that's going to be a close game. Tennessee, it's going to be very similar to Ole Miss. UMass is actually going to be your not really cupcake, but it's going to be your rest day. That's the time to kind of work on some stuff and chill out
Hmm.
a little bit. You still got to take them serious because Tech's going to bring it hard too, and they're different from all four of those teams.
They're different from all of
And
them. Tech, this is the kind of year where Tech sneaks up and beats Georgia normally.
yeah,
I still don't. Now, again, Georgia
I'm not
Kirby
picking
hates
them yet,
Tech
but
enough. I'm not picking again on that one yet. I need to see what happens the next two, and
yep,
how Georgia, because I just don't trust this team. Like I love my dogs, but I get why people jump ship every now and then. But again, it's too soon, dog fans. We had one bad year
yeah,
last year, which was a good year, but we just missed it a little bit. And then this year is just a show that we don't. This is like 2019 all over again.
right,
I guess it's one of those things where, as a Georgia fan and as someone who tries to pay attention, but I don't know all the details of what's going on. It could be that Bobo is actually the right call at coordinator, and the fact of the matter is that he's got a quarterback that won't listen to him. But then
maybe,
again,
yeah,
it could be that it could be the quarterback not trusting all the stuff around him, and so it's a bad spot. But then again,
it could be a bad mix, yeah,
it could be a bad mix altogether, but it also could simply be that everything else could work if we had the right player or two in spot and the quarterback actually trusted his guys around him. He might
right.
be in a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, and like you said, it could be that. Maybe it's that Beck not fitting the system and kind of bucking the system the way he is making Bobo look worse than he is. Maybe Bobo's not calling a game to help Beck, and maybe there's a third factor in there that's stirring it both up. So I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of factors.
true.
But in the last few minutes here, any closing remarks? We're both going Georgia, of course.
Yeah, just sorry, I just been a long day. My brain is scattered over here, but kind of back to the way I've talked about stuff before. Just hang in there, dog fans. The golden era, as we've been calling it, is not over. It
No,
just might be taking a slight detour for 2 to 3 years. Should this have happened? No, no. I think once NIL gets calmed down to where we figure out what's going on, because honestly, the kind of expectation right now is that Kirby retires within 5 years because of NIL, because of everything on. Like the man stressed himself out. You could see it this year. He's stressed more than he's ever been.
yeah,
I honestly think that what has to happen from this point is that Kirby needs to be the CEO and handle the day to day and go find the coordinators. I think he trusts his defense. I think he trusts them, but he's got to find his offensive counterpart that he trusts, like a Lane Kiffin was at Alabama, like you can think of anyone you want, but like a Shanahan. Go find someone who can say, "I got you, Kirby. My job is to get the guys the best place to play. Go get me and recruit me the guys I'm telling you to, and land them. Give me the money where I need to spend on NIL. Let me handle the day to day on this side. You handle day to day here on that stuff with your guys, and handle everything above that. I got you. My job's not to is try to get us the best place to win and not turn it over so the defense can handle their business. We're going to drop 50 on people, but we're
yep,
going to do it smartly. You got to
Yep.
go find that, and you got to find someone who's willing to be there for longer than 2 to 3 years on their way up the ladder. You need to find someone who's like, hey, I want to be here for a couple of years, and hey, if you're looking at retiring in 3 to 5 years, I'm right here. Like, I
Yep.
want this job. I want to be here. I want to create this thing for the long term. You started it. Let me help continue and finish it. So be patient, Georgia fans. We'll see what happens when the season's over. Georgia could still win a title this year. They could win one next year. You never know. It's the beauty of the game. It just might be that there's a few more cardiac arrest on our side for some of it. But hey, that's life. Welcome to the college football era. At least we're not in the Rick days where we knew we were going to lose 2, 3 games a year. This time we know we're probably going to lose one. Let's just hope it's before the playoffs.
Absolutely. And it's going to be real hard for you to pick a better title than I'm about to tell you because the phrase that pays this week is that those Georgia coaches and those Georgia philosophies need to stay in their lane. Stay in your lane. Do what you do best and
Yep.
find people to do what you don't do best and surround yourself with people to pick up the pieces like that. Stay in your lane. That's the end of the show. He's Jake Skinner. I'm Jeremy York. This has been Hunker Down. Stay in your lane, folks. Stay in your lane. And we'll see you guys next week. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.